Yaya, Tainik sa kanyang ilang, Tainik sa kanyang ilang, Pisimuna ikiyak sa Yaya, Tainik sa kanyang ilang, Tainik sa kanyang ilang, Nagsutinto na riyan ni Marikay aluwakti.
Ubumi. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Tunnganarniq show. I'm your host. My name is Margaret Elias. I'm here today with our guest, Ann Kasook.
Ann.
Oh, sorry. Ann is your daughter.
Yeah.
I already made a mistake.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's okay.
Ann Kasook.
That's okay.
How are you?
I'm okay. I'm looking forward to getting this done anyway. I haven't been interviewed for a long time, so.
Yeah. So when I tried to contact Marlo, your daughter, to see if she'd be on the show, she said that you were willing to be on the show.
So I could go home and tell her a few words.
Yeah.
But I don't mind.
Yeah. So the way I like to start every single show is, when we talk to elders and elders they want to know us, like they ask us who our parents are, where they're from. So I just ask our guests to introduce themselves the exact same way as if they were talking to an elder.
Well, actually, my parents are Guy and Therese Iglayak, and they were originally from Coppermine and Bathurst Inlet. So they were sent to the Aklavik school and when they were 4 and 5 years old and never ever got sent back home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, they pretty much grew up at the Roman Catholic school in Aklavik. Yeah.
Can you tell me maybe who your grandparents are?
I didn't know my I don't know, like my grandparents, like my parents' parents. I didn't know them at all.
Okay.
But when I was born in actually about 30 miles from here.
Oh.
Yeah, Lake they call, but there's a river as well.
Yeah.
So because my parents were reindeer herder, or my dad was a reindeer herder, we were out at a reindeer herding camp, and that's where I was born.
Okay.
It was in May, so it was warm, but they had a lady that delivered me.
Yeah.
And apparently there was another boy that was born, and he actually worked here with me when he was part of that training that we took, and he lives in Cambridge Bay.
Yeah.
And that's Harry Maksak. He was born maybe a day or two, or maybe the same day. I'm not really sure. Like, I think it's a little bit off the dates, but he was born around the same time as I was. So this lady was almost like, what would you call her?
A doula or a midwife?
Midwife kind of thing, but at that time
they didn't have the name.
Yeah. So, and actually she delivered quite a few babies, and I was one of them. Her name was Laura Kingiana. And her husband was part of the reindeer herders too. So that's where I was born. And this couple from Norway, Mikkel and Anna Pulk, they were reindeer herders too. Well, Mikkel was a reindeer herder. And apparently they were wanting to adopt me. But so I stayed with them till I was maybe 5 years old, and then they bring me back to my parents. And they, although they wanted to adopt me, they wouldn't allow it because of the different religion. In those days, like religion was, you know, if you're Catholic, if you're baptized Catholic, you stay Catholic.
Yeah.
It was just the way it was.
Yeah.
So when I went back to my parents, I didn't even know who they were, you know, because I was so used to living with my grandma. And my mom was admitted to the hospital in Aklavik for TB. So that's one of the reasons I stayed with Mikkel and Anna Pulk. And I always knew them as my grandma. I mean, they were there, them, you know. And little did I know they were not really my grandparents, but they wanted to adopt me and they couldn't.
Yeah.
Because of religion at that time. And for them, they were Lutheran when they came from Norway. But there was no Lutheran in our area at that time, so they joined the Pentecostal movement.
Yeah.
So that's where, and I stayed with them till I was 5, like back and forth, but I didn't really know my parents too. Yeah. And like it was sad because my parents didn't even know their family as well, because like my dad, well, it was my mom's husband, but him and his sister walked about maybe 35 to 50 miles when they were just at that young age, 4 and 5 years old, from their outpost camp or wherever they had a camp. But at the time they were getting ready to go back to copper mine, like my dad's father passed away. So the two at that age had to walk back to copper mine.
There's a lot of stories I find here of people having to walk long distances at one point.
Yeah.
In the families, certain families.
Yeah. Well, longer it was like that. There was no skidoos. There was, you know, very minimal dog teams, I guess, in those days. And so they had to walk like maybe about 50 miles, they said. But they were sent with my mom too was sent with them to the Aklavik Immaculate Conception, the school there.
Yeah. And
his sister was also sent there. And they never ever got sent back to copper mine.
Wow.
Like, so they never really knew their siblings too. And like now today I'm starting to find out, like I have, like my mom didn't even know she was related to my dad.
Oh.
And they ended up getting married when they were 18.
Because they
didn't know. They
left
were
their
orphans.
families?
Yeah. She had a sister as well, but her sister had passed away when at the school. So didn't really know like our family. Like to me, my family is all around here. Like, you know, and yet I got loads of family in the east.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are you starting to make contact with some of them?
Well, in those days, a lot of the younger children were sent to the hostels anyway. So a lot of people came from Joe Haven, Cambridge Bay, Copper Mine, stuff like that. But then there was 2 hostels here. Yeah. There was the Anglican hostel, Stringer Hall called, and then the other one was the Catholic hostel. So that's where I met some of my relatives. And then my dad knew because they were his brother's daughters. Yeah. And my mom, she didn't even know. She knew she had a brother. Her mom had had a baby. She knew she had a brother, but she had never met him. And when they had the Northern Games here, he came. Wow. And actually, he was looking for my dad, and he was saying, "I'm trying to find my brother." because the people that adopted him made him brothers with my dad.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and somebody at the games at the Jim Cree Park said, you know, their son is here. Like I have an adopted brother.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think he's like, they stay with him. So they brought him to my brother Jimmy, and he said, I'm looking for my brother Guy.
Mm-hmm.
So Jimmy brought him home because my parents were living with him.
Yeah.
And when they got there, they were telling stories, and he was telling them that he was adopted, you know, like, and Guy became his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And right at that time, like, my father had asked him, well, who was your parents?
Mm-hmm.
So he named them in the language,
Mm-hmm.
like because they had Inuvik names, I guess.
Yeah.
My dad looked at my mom, and my mom looked at my dad, and they found out that he was my mom's brother,
Yeah.
and they didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strange, huh?
Yeah. And this was around the first or second year of the Northern Games, like maybe in the late 70s.
long,
or
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, but he wanted to see my dad because,
How cool is that was so long ago, but
Yeah.
that connection was still there.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, like, coming to think about it, like, you know, like, my dad was pretty much a reindeer herder.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to say this because I have a different father
Mm-hmm.
than my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And my biological father was from Medicine Hat or something, and he was around the reindeer herding days.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew that for years. I used to wonder how come this and how come that. But, you know, in the later years, like, my mom's husband took me like his very own.
Yeah.
Like, took me like his very own, and took pretty good care of me.
I find all the men long ago
Yeah.
did that a lot.
Yeah.
They just took the children in as their own.
Yeah. And I think, you know, back in the days, like, like some of these were either they came up to work,
Mm-hmm.
or they were whalers, or they were, you know. But according to some of my digging up, I found out that he was a worker at Reindeer Station.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, like, for years never got my DNA done, you know, just I called my mom's husband my dad all the time, so I knew him as my dad. But it was tough because, you know, like, I had children that were questioned, you know, like, is it my husband's, you know, really? So it was tough, but I was able to get my DNA done. But it was maybe, we were searching, me and Anna, since 1999, I think we started.
Mm-hmm.
And a guy, he's elderly, quite elderly now, he was the one that came to my house. And he brought me a picture of my biological father.
Wow.
And he was my godfather, like this guy that brought the picture. And he said, I just wanted to make sure I give you this. He was friends with my mom. My mom sewed a lot, so she made parkies for them and muklaks and things like that. So anyways, he brought the picture to me, and he actually is my godfather.
Yeah.
Like, he was my godfather because his friend had left Reindeer Station like before I was born. I guess knew that, you know, it wasn't a good thing. So he left anyway. And I found out that he deceased in 1989, I think.
Yeah.
Or 1999. And 2 years later, like, my girls were the ones that convinced me to get my DNA. And it did prove.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
he was the...
Yeah, but his sons don't want to have nothing to do with me. I'm older than his sons and his children, but
Yeah.
they don't want to have nothing to do with me. And one of them is a really really into, I don't know, cinema or stuff like that.
Like
So-
movies or something?
I don't know what you would call them. They're not movies, they're, well, almost like short stories or something. He's into that, like that kind of stuff. But his other brother won't. I haven't made no contact with him. But, you know, I've lived with it. I had a hard time though, because because I'm half and half.
Yeah.
So my kids, some of them are, like my son had, I don't know how to say it, he had blonde
hair.
streaks around his, and he was like fair and
He had colored eyes.
light kind
Sometimes.
of brown,
Yeah.
but then it was hard on me because I didn't know yet that I had a different, like I knew I had a different father, but I didn't know who he was. So, and it was hard on my husband because he thought I was, messing around and had a baby from
Because
someone
you
else.
had a child that had more fair features. Oh my goodness.
So it was tough in that
Yeah.
way. Like I had to go through a really tough time.
Yeah.
Because some of my kids were, I can't help it, they were born the way they were,
Yeah.
But, and at that time, I still didn't know who my father was. So,
Yeah.
so it was hard.
So you were telling, or Marlo was telling me a little bit that you spent some time at Reindeer Station.
Yeah. Probably till I was about 5. Like, my mom ended up with TB, had to be in the hospital for maybe 2 years without, no contacts with us. So and I was just little, so I didn't know where, I was with my grandma and my granddad, and nobody could tell me anything different,
Yeah.
because I grew to love them. And
Yeah.
little did I know that they were really trying to adopt me, because they knew my parents drank, and they were always worried about me, and they would send this lady to go and check on me, make sure I'm okay, and and they would tell her, just if they're drinking, just wrap her up and bring her to us. And I didn't know about all that, but I found out later. And they were really trying to adopt me, and they kept me till I was 5. Once in a while they sent me to my parents, but I didn't know them, and, anyways, they couldn't at that time adopt me because we were different religions.
Yeah.
They were Lutheran and I was Catholic. So I was baptized Catholic and they were Lutheran, and they came from Norway, and that's how they ended up at Reindeer Station. But he was a reindeer herder. I always call them my grandma and my granddad, and they're actually the Pulks,
The what?
the binders and the Pulks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's. So I always knew them as they were my cousins, and Nels was my uncle, and his wife was my aunt, but she was related to my mom too.
Yeah.
So, I knew the binders as my cousins, and
So the Reindeer Station, there's a new building there. You probably were there when it was all the old buildings. Yeah. That's where they herded the reindeer first?
well, majority of the time they were at Reindeer Station, but in the summer they would go to Kugluktuk Bay, and they would have a reindeer roundup there, and we just enjoyed that all the time because, they had drift logs, and they would build corrals
Oh, cool.
with the drift logs, and they made a place where, some people could climb up and sit, and we used to sit up there and watch them count the reindeer and whatever. And they would use some of us kids to chase the reindeer into the smaller pens, and then till they got into the main, like where they did their castration and ear tags and whatever. But I used to enjoy doing that. I remember it was such a beautiful place because, I didn't really know too much about people drinking, but I knew like I like this place because didn't see anybody drinking
Yeah.
as much, you know,
Yeah.
or if they drank, it was. But anyways, I know we look forward all the time to the summer. It was usually done in July, July, August, around there, that they would count all the reindeer and count the newborn fawns and tag their ears and everything. And we used to just enjoy it. But us kids, you know, they used to have burlaps, they call them. And it's just like gunny sacks that were all joined together, and that's how we would make noise and make the reindeers go into the pens. And we just enjoyed it.
I wonder how you did that. Like, I would be nervous letting kids do that.
We all held, you know, it was like
Yeah.
long burlaps, they called them. And there would be so many of us, and there'd be adults
I guess
too.
the reindeer are used to being around people too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I never ever saw no incidents that were not good,
Yeah.
but it was really good. You know, like, it was hard to know that Reindeer Station was shutting down
Yeah.
when I first heard it, because
Do you remember what year it shut down?
I can't even remember. Probably the late 60s, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was sad, you know, because
It's
there most.
Beautiful now.
Yeah.
Like the new
I haven't
building,
gone there.
They have a new building and apparently it's really nice. I've seen some videos.
I haven't
but-
gone there. I haven't really gone anywhere. And since Charlie died, like, we don't really go out on the land anymore.
Yeah.
So it's, but it was a really nice time. I enjoyed it. We used to always climb up the hill they called Summer Hill.
That's a really high hill.
Yeah, we used to always climb up there and, you know, go for picnics up there. And
My husband once last year brought me when the ice road was open, and he does field work, and he said, "Look, I have to climb all the way up that to do his drone footage."
yeah.
And I said, "You have to climb up that," and he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Let me know when you're going up there. That way I can do the dishes and cook supper and just let you relax, because that's a hike to go all the way up
We
in
used to
those
always
hills."
have to climb it, like, and we climbed it all the time.
Yeah, it's quite a hike
I
up those hills.
haven't been there for so long. Like, I always wonder if there's still the pathway there.
I think there is. I think there is.
Yeah. I remember one time we were all going. We were going to have a picnic up on the hill,
Yeah.
and we all had to bring something. So I brought a little can of orange mandarin fruit,
Yeah.
and I dropped it, and it rolled all the way in the bush. And I always wonder if it's still in the bushes somewhere.
Probably. Once my husband was hiking in there, in those willows and stuff,
Yeah.
just behind, I think, like in the around Reindeer Station, and he saw a really nice moose antler.
Wow.
And he looked at it, and it was really nice, and he was like, "I bet you the other side is somewhere around here." So we kept walking, and he found the other side.
Wow.
Two perfect matching. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was so proud of them.
And they used to have a place like the hill there, and then on towards the right side of that hill, there used to be a road going up, and it used to be called the slaughterhouse.
Oh, okay.
And that's where when they slaughtered reindeer, they would hang them in that slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
But you know, we never ever ran out of meat, never, because they always made sure like the people were fed. And there was probably maybe 30 families living at Reindeer Station.
That's a lot of families
Yeah.
living there. That's like a little town.
Like, we were just small, like, but we were happy. We played. We didn't, you know, like as kids anyway. Like, there was a school there.
I think there was a church there.
Yeah, there was a Pentecostal church
Yeah.
there, and that's what my grandparents joined,
Yeah.
because there was no other, you know, no other place to fellowship, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about it. You used to work for ICS a long time ago. Yeah.
Probably in the 80s, huh?
And well, like right when they first started.
Was it in the 80s?
I think it was in the 80s.
85, I think.
The late 80s.
85.
Yeah.
And you know, like I never really worked full-time anywhere. Just, you know, like cleaning like similar building and, you know, doing stuff like that. And anyway, it was Anna, that my oldest daughter. She said, Mom, you should apply for this training position at ICS. And I don't know. You know, I didn't really want to. And I was a home person and only worked like few hours a day. Like I mainly stayed with my kids all the time. And then when I ended up she said, just apply. So I did. And lo and behold, I ended up here. Well, at the Semler building.
Yeah, back when it was at the Semler building.
And then we moved here. And we took our training. We had our main person was Ab Douglas, and his helper the producer was Tom Allen. So they taught us a lot of stuff, and we used to have fun just, you know, learning something new. Rini Airy was there, Stan Rubin, Debbie Gordon, Walter Goose, Wayne Goose, Sandra Elias, Topsy Cockney. I said Debbie, I think. There was 9 of us anyway. Yeah.
And you guys worked in ICS, but what were you guys working on?
Pretty much programming, you know, like half an hour, like 15-minute programming when we started. It was 15 minutes. And like each person was given the opportunity to, you know, like produce and put the shows together. Pretty much Stan had a big role play in it.
Yeah.
He was good at stuff. Like he was just a natural, I guess. So he always helped us where we needed help. And then a year later, like we were told that they're gonna have to hire a program, or, you know, like assign somebody the program director position and the senior producer, and the rest are gonna go up one level from training, from the training positions. And anyways, we were all like, even me, I didn't think nothing about anything. You know, because I felt like I didn't have my education. Didn't have a thought about it. But I mean, didn't know what to think. I was given the program director position. So that's who but then my daughter, one of my daughters had a heart condition.
Oh, okay.
And I had to spend a lot of time, like she had an open heart surgery and she wasn't doing well. She had 2 kids. And then when they sent her out the last time, they diagnosed her with cancer. She didn't live. So I adopted her kids. And, you know, at that time when all this was happening, it was really difficult. So I just had to let everything go.
Oh, okay.
At first I was on leave and I thought, I can't, you know, I have to look after her kids.
Yeah.
Because her 2 were just babies.
Yeah.
One was 2 and the other one was 4 and the other one was 2 when she passed. So stayed home and looked after them, and then started to branch out a little bit more, worked for Community Corp, worked for Ingamo Hall for how many years? Yeah.
When you were at ICS, did you work on Damupta or Swangang?
Pretty much Damupta, and I could remember that name, Damupta, because we were all sitting around the tables, like we had tables going around and then they were trying to think of what we're going to call our program. And I thought, what about Damapta?
Damapta.
Yeah. Because that means all of us.
Yeah. I was just going to ask, what does it mean?
Yeah, all of us.
Yeah.
And I said, what about that? And so that's how Damapta came about. And then it was later that Swangan came out.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really there at the time when Swangan came out because we were just doing mainly 15-minute programming.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, what's the difference between the two? I'm not even sure.
I think...
Because, like, when I watched...
I can't remember what really it had to do. Like, Damapta was pretty much like just all kinds of programs, like jamborees, stuff like that. And then Swangan, it was more of trying to get elders more involved.
Okay.
Their strength.
Yeah.
It's like strength. So they had another, like, I wasn't too involved with Swangan because I was already with my daughter and trying to take care of her. Yeah.
Do you have any favorite moments in Damapta that comes to mind?
I have silly stuff.
Well, I like to hear silly stuff.
But I vowed I wouldn't use that one that I was trying to talk about. It's too bad.
Yeah.
Gee, we used to laugh so much. I can't. I don't think I could remember like a lot of it. But
I'm going to ask you to tell your story. What I heard was that you used to have to listen to the radio.
Oh yeah, the dog. Yeah. We always had to listen to the news every morning, we were told to listen to the news. And so here I am, I'm behind Ingamo Hall, like a few doors down from Ingamo Hall. ICS was at the similar building then. Anyways, I'm so petrified of dogs. I think I could run faster than a vehicle even. I get so scared, But anyways, I'm walking to work. I listen to the news all the time, and every morning, like our trainer would say, "Did anybody hear the news?" And he always knew that I listened to the news. So if nobody says anything, then he says, "So what happened on the news tonight, Ann? Or today? What was on the news?" So I would tell them. And then this one day, I'm walking to work, and I was passing the Christian Assembly. And this dog started, like, this black dog was coming, a big dog too. And so I'm, like, it went by me, so I kept walking. And next thing I looked to the side, and the dog's following me.
Yeah.
And I swung my handbag and yelling, hollering and swinging my bag. I know I hit it once, like probably on the head. But anyways, this truck came by, and this guy rolled his window down, he slowed down. He said, "Is that dog bothering you?" I said, "Yeah." I was almost crying. And he jumped out of his truck. I ran, in front of his truck, and I trying to get into his truck, and I fell down, but I pulled myself in because I was so scared of that dog. And when he jumped in, he said, he chased that dog away anyway.
Yeah.
He said, "What kind of shoes you're wearing? You're wearing them kind Mauclucks or whatever?" Like he had an accent. I said, "Yeah, they were from my Aunt Edith Hawa,
Yeah.
Muscats." Anyways, he said, "I think you got to quit wearing them kind Mauclucks." He said, "Every time my wife wears them, the dogs get after her too. I think they smell the skins or something." Anyways, I got to ICS. It wasn't far, but when I jumped in his truck, I said, "Could you drive me to work?" I was just breathing hard too. He said, "Yeah." And I said, "Yeah, it's just to the similar building, where the Baptist church and those ones, and just over there.
Yeah.
That's how, like, I'm close. But anyways, I'm sitting there, and our trainer's saying, so what happened? What happened on the news today? Nobody say nothing, you know, because they never listen. Finally, he said, well, Ann, what happened? What did you hear on the news today? I looked at him, I said, to tell you the truth, I got so scared coming to work this morning. This dog was coming behind me, past me and coming behind me. Scared the news right out of my head. I couldn't even remember what happened on the news. Then at dinner time, I'm still thinking about that dog. So I called a cab. Went home with a cab. Got home. And then my husband came. He said, that stupid Kiwi got loose. I had to come home and tie him up. Here it was my own dog. It was a black lab. Yeah. My own dog.
Your own dog is going to go with you to work?
Yeah, and even when I hit it with my bag, it didn't even growl or anything. Just trying to follow me to work. It had its chain still. It must have pulled, you know, from wherever he was tied up and pulled the chain because he was still dragging his chain.
Oh my gosh, Anna.
Oh my God.
Poor.
Yeah. And that's not the only time. This one time I'm working at Ingamo Hall and I stayed on Dolphin, so it's just up that
the road, yep.
There's a hill. And anyways, I phoned my friend because she lived right over that hill. Mm-hmm. And I said, Jody, I'm going to go to work. I'm going to start walking now. So I was walking. Next thing, this bunch of dogs, I don't know if they were dogs or pups, but they're just barking and running towards me. And my son-in-law was driving our car. You know, he drove somebody to school. And anyways, I'm just to the corner at Dolphin and, you know, just got to go up that hill to meet my friend, or she was going to meet me over that hill. Anyways, I got so scared. I think I caught up to even our car. I was so scared. By the time they were pulling into our driveway, I was right behind them too. And I said, Fraser, could you drive me to work? A bunch of dogs. So he had to drive me to work, and when we were going, my friend was just on, you know, down the hill from her house, like there. I just looked at her through the window. I'm so scared of dogs.
Yeah.
And I wondered why. But when I was a little girl, maybe after I went back to my parents, like my parents separated for a while.
Yeah.
So me and my mom and my brother, we ended up going, we were in Aklavik, and I was sliding down the hill, and this guy and his dog team ran over me. And they were just growling and fighting on top of me, but I was down on the ground like this.
Yeah.
So I think that was the time that I really
That's
got.
all it takes is one bad experience when you're a kid.
Yeah. So, you know, that was my funny story. But I have so many funny stories. Some of them I don't like to tell because they're
too funny?
Bad words.
Bad words, yeah.
I always have, like, today, without my husband, it's really different. Different because just like Marlo and her girl lives with me right now, but it's so,
yeah.
you know, it's...
He passed 2 years ago? A year ago?
He died November 18th, 2017.
Oh, lot longer than 2 years ago now. Yeah.
And it's been different.
Yeah.
You know, still hard to let it go. Like I had a tough life with him, but still I stayed for my kids, you know, like, raised my kids. And He was always playing music with James Rogers and
Yep.
Angus and him.
We had your daughter Anna on the video on the show.
I saw it.
Yeah. And she was talking about the musical side of your family.
Oh, yeah, I better give you a CD, yeah?
I would love that. Oh my goodness, yes.
I think I got one. I just found one actually because I was
So-
going to move out of my house.
Oh, okay.
But this is Anna, myself, and my brother-in-law, Pat Kasook.
How beautiful.
And Steve Barlock was the one that
Created them?
He videoed us one day. Yeah.
How nice. I love
Yeah.
this. Thank you. So I remember a few times I gone to visit Carmen when she lived with you guys. And all I remember, because I was really young, all I remember is lots of people in your living room.
Yeah.
Guitars and singing.
I didn't even
Like-
remember you going there.
No, I was so small and I remember just staying on the stairs. Like,
Oh.
and then I remember going into your kitchen and having something to eat, but there was lots of people over.
I
and
know we've had lots
Like a
of people.
jam
at our
session.
home.
It was a
Yeah.
real jam session.
There's been times that we had maybe 50, 60 people
Yeah.
at our house, sitting on the stairs all the way down sometimes. And
Yeah.
We had when people came from Alaska. Like, I remember Charlie, we were in Edmonton when he was sick, and we were there for about 3 months maybe. In Edmonton, we came back, and they just gave us time to come home for maybe 10 days, and then we had to go back. So here he is having caribou soup. Somebody, and somebody made bread. And so there was fresh bread and caribou soup. And this guy came in, and this girl came in. She went in that other living room, and this guy came in. I was sitting close to Charlie, and this guy said, "Oh, could I have some fresh bread?" Charlie said, "Go ahead." And he said, "What you're doing? What you're doing here?" Because it's from Alaska.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, we're going to have a sing-along." And Charlie said, "Oh, okay." So he just finished eating and went and started setting up all the equipment.
Yeah.
But we sure miss that now because we haven't done it for a long time.
A long time, yep. I would say when I went to your house, it was probably 2003. Like it was a long, 20 years ago.
Yeah, we always had a full house.
Yep.
We were always...
It was Jamboree, so there was
Yeah.
probably a lot of people at your house.
Yeah.
It was
We
around
always-
Jamboree time.
We did that a lot. Like now it's
A little bit different.
too different.
Yeah.
Like even myself, I can't play the guitar because I can't press the strings hard enough.
Yeah.
So I haven't been singing too.
Yeah.
I still do once in a while, but I gotta get my voice back.
Yeah, your whole family is very musical.
And it's really hard because my brother-in-law just passed to us
Yeah.
just not too long ago. And he was always with us. And like when I first met Charlie, he was only a baby, like maybe a few months old.
Yeah.
Him and his other, like his cousin, but they call each other their brothers. It's been tough because he was always with us, always hang out. They were always at my house anyway.
Yeah.
It's just been tough. Like it's really been tough on Marlo
Yes.
because she was so used to having him there. And he drum dances me. I don't drum dance. I don't even know anything about drum dancing.
Yeah.
But I try to go once in a while.
Your whole family, drum dancing, jigging,
Yeah.
singing, like performing, artists.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just that I haven't been able to do that. After my surgery too, I really slowed down.
Yeah.
Really slowed down, and I mean, I still could be silly. I'm a silly woman when I want to be silly.
Yeah.
Funny things.
Yeah. And a storyteller.
Yeah. I enjoy doing that.
I enjoy listening to stories. That's probably my favorite thing to do on this
Yeah.
this show, is to just sit back and listen to stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite thing to do. Or to sit back and listen to music too.
Yeah, and I just love playing music, but I just haven't been able to since my open heart.
Yeah.
Because this side is the side that I need to use for the guitar, but I can't press it hard enough.
Got to use those, those old exercising.
My girls could play the guitar for me.
Yeah.
Charney used to play guitar for me too long.
Yeah.
I used to play too. I could play keyboard too, but
Yeah.
I haven't been doing any of that for a long time.
Before we finish up with the show, I wanted to talk about this book. So have you seen it?
Well, I think Anna did tell me about it,
Yes.
but I didn't get a copy of it too, so
I'm going to see if I could get you a copy of it.
okay.
I'll see if you could take this one.
Yeah, because I would really like to have a copy, at least for my kids,
Yeah.
This is the story that she put together, like asking me questions. And
So
she didn't want to put, names to a lot of them,
Yeah.
because she didn't want to really,
what's the title? I don't know what that.
that's my Inuvic name.
Oh, okay.
{ʊvăgut}.
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 {ʊvăgut}. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And long ago they didn't have hospitals close by and whatever when we lived at Reindeer Station and we were out reindeer herding. So I was delivered by a lady who was what do you call them? When they
Midwife.
didn't, yeah.
Yeah.
At that time they didn't call it midwife or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, she delivered me, and that was Laura Kengiana. So that was her name.
Oh,
That was her
{ʊvăgut}.
Inuvic name. So that's what she named me too.
It says {ʊvăgut} and her friend Buster.
Yeah.
That's a reindeer.
Yeah.
I'm going to show the camera. Yeah. So this is your story. It's a story by Ann Kasook, written by Anna Pingo.
Yeah.
And what's this story about? You had a best friend, Buster?
Well, reindeer, I was really close to reindeer as well when I was a kid. Really close, and we used to go sled deer.
Yeah.
They would harness up the reindeer, and they would put us in a sleigh,
Yeah.
and the reindeers would pull us. And my the reindeer were everywhere when we were kids. Yeah.
I'm just reading the last page. It says, Buster gave {ʊvăgut} a push and made her fall down. You meanie, take it easy. And they all burst into laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was asking me about, when I was growing up and stuff.
So you have a story that's published, a published story.
I forgot about this,
Yeah. Well, Beverly here at ICRC said that we can talk about it. Yeah. So we'll see if we could get you a
for
copy
sure.
of that. Yeah.
Because I would love to have a copy so my kids could.
I think it's
all
important.
my children are grown up,
Yeah.
but I have grandbabies and
Yeah.
great grandbabies now. So I was trying to count them before I came. Gee, I don't even know how many. I said I must have about 17, I think, grandchildren, maybe
Yeah.
more.
Mm-hmm.
Some maybe I don't even know about. Just kidding.
That's the silly side.
Yeah. And I could be really silly too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really silly. I'm going to show you after the camera is out.
We're not going to cut the camera. No, I'm just
Oh.
kidding.
Well, you're not going to see the other part.
Yeah.
But I used to make my kids laugh. I always had, laugh like. I mean, I had a life, but, I had a tough life, but I also had a lot of laughter.
That's important.
My kids were always so special to me.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, you can see that because you could see how much they care about everybody. Very respectful. Like all of your all of your children, they have a lot of respect for everyone.
Yeah, and I miss them nowadays because they're doing their own thing, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
But
My father,
maybe I'm just getting age, you know, my age, right?
it's called empty nest syndrome.
Yeah,
That's
probably.
when people usually get a dog. Maybe you could get a reindeer.
Maybe. I don't know if I'll ever want a dog. I told my kids, like, we had a dog, Holly.
Yeah.
Like a little, just like a French poodle or whatever. But, you know, we didn't know how to shave his whatever. And my sister-in-law one time decided to cut his hair. So pitiful. He had no more hair, just like he looked even skinny.
Oh, poor.
But he used to play ball in the house every night. We had him for years, and one day I said to Charlie, gee, that dog, every time he comes in, he comes under right where I'm sitting at the table. And I said, it's almost like when he's in heat or she's in heat, and you know, I'm smelling. This dog is so stink, they should shoot him.
Oh.
And he got mad at me.
Oh my.
Because we had that dog for how many years? And he said, how would you like it if somebody said should shoot you? Because he was upset because I wanted to kill the dog.
Yeah.
So silly we were. But he made me think a little bit.
Yeah.
But we had that one for maybe 14 years.
That's a long time to have a dog, yeah. At that point, that dog loves you. Like, the dog just loves you.
But, you know, it couldn't gain weight anymore. And I was thinking, must have had so many pups. And so as much as it was hard, he had to take it out and let it go. Shot it.
Yeah, it just happens. Especially after 4. That's a long time to have a dog.
I had so many experiences in life. Like, it was really hard because when my mom passed, like, she passed in Edmonton, so they sent her up. Tough.
Yeah.
We started to have her service at the cemetery. And the grave was too small.
Oh.
So we had to put it off, like that part. We did the church part, but so they said they'll let us know. But when they did they let my brothers know, but they didn't want me to go because when they were going to put her in, her coffin opened up and she slid out. Yeah. So.
Do you have anything else you want to share? We have a few minutes left of the show. See how fast an hour goes by? Yeah.
I could sit here all night.
I tried to tell Marlo, just if you're watching Marlo, I tried to get her on the show. She said she's too nervous, and I said, we'll talk. It just goes by so easy. She's like, I know that, but I'm just nervous reading your messages.
Yeah. Like, some of them are like that. Like, Cindy's okay now. She's come a long way. And she's easy to talk to. But Marlo is a little bit closed.
Yeah. I'll probably end up getting everyone on the show at some point. Hopefully, that's my hope with this show. I want to get as many different Inuvalak as I can on the show. Yeah.
That would be nice, you know, like it's good for people to have, like, even for future.
Yeah.
You know, like, I know, like, for me when I was here at ICS, like, it was new, it was challenging, it was, you know, and we had a lot of laughs because things didn't go sometimes the way we wanted them to go, and, you know, like,
those are such good days, though, when you persevere over situations that you need to get through. Yeah.
And, you know, even in our home, like, I mean, you know, every home has disagreements sometimes, but we could get silly in ours too.
Yeah.
You know, even though we have a disagreement, we could laugh about it later or say, how stupid, or, you know, and we just laugh. Like,
Yeah.
I think it comes in the culture, like we're just, as
so.
Inuvialuit people, we always laugh. At, even if we get hurt,
Yep.
you know, we'll laugh.
My sisters, I have 2 sisters, and they always say, don't bring Margaret to the emergency room. She's either going to cry or she's going to laugh really lots. I'm like, yeah, there's no way.
I know. I was with someone one time, like, they asked me to come and be with them when they're having a baby, and I said, okay, because, you know.
Yeah.
So I went with her, and I thought the nurse was telling me to go, or because she said something to that lady, and I thought she wanted me to leave because of my reactions, I guess. And I said, you want me to leave? She said, oh, no. She said, it looks like you're having the baby instead of her. Here I was huffing and puffing, you know, trying to make my aunt huff and puff. And here I thought she wanted me to leave because there was something wrong with me. Huffing and puffing. Just about left the room. Yeah, but it's like that. We're silly. We're some kind of a family. Maybe it's all a mixed
I don't think so.
cells or whatever from different, from being different.
I think it's just in our culture to laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're very cheery people.
Yeah, we don't like.
At the heart of
Yeah. And I think I'm really hard to get angry, you know.
Yeah.
Like I could get angry at my kids if they're doing something like wrong, or at people. Like if something's happening downtown.
Yeah.
If somebody tells me I'm going down to check what's happening. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming and being on
I'm glad
the
I
show.
came. Like I had fun.
Yes,
I
I
enjoyed
really
it.
wanted to sit and hear your story and to hear some stories that you had to share.
Silly woman anyway.
I really wanted to hear your the dog one from you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to hear that one. Yeah, that was what was the dog's name?
No dogs when I'm going home. The dog's name was Kiwi.
Kiwi. Yeah, so funny. So I'm just gonna close out the show now.
Yep.
That one? This one? Sorry. Thank you all for tuning in to the Tunnganarniq show, and thank you, Anne, for coming in and sharing your stories, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Yeah.